Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and I just picked up this 2024 BMW X1 M35i. This is a new engine tune, if you will, and a new model for the refreshed in 2023 BMW X1, and I'm going to be driving it 130 miles, 2 hours away, to my buddy's bachelor weekend. We're going to be spending some time up there in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then I'm going to be driving it back down here to Atlanta. And first things first, I gotta say, it's frustrating getting into the airport and after a long flight, picking up the car, but already I've been relieved by the fact this thing is so easy to get used to and to get working. CarPlay paired up, or not CarPlay, Android Auto paired up right away wirelessly, and that's a good thing because I forgot that this car is all USB-Cs and I only brought a USB-A to USB-C plug, and I don't think I brought any adapters, foolishly of me. So we've got this nice wireless charger. The X1 has one of my favorite wireless charger setups right here. My phone is charging up. We got Android Auto going wirelessly with my navigation. But I do want to hop out real quick in this rain and show you this Bay Blue Lagoon metallic paint because this thing looks really darn cool. Just to let you know, it's about a $59,000 car as you're looking at it. What packages do we have? Driving Assistance Pro, M Sport Professional, and the Premium package, giving us a multitude of features there. Sounds like there's an airplane going over, but let's hop out and take a look. Isn't this a cool color? Even here in the evening, it's popping. Got some cool looking wheels, probably a little too big for what we need, but hopefully the roads are in good shape in the springtime here in the ATL. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good little car for a road trip. Some cool designs here on the lights. Yeah. Roof rail actions, some blacked out bits. BMW coming back with the put your hand up and pull door handles there. You can see I got a little bit of storage going on down here, bag of chips, phone case, valet card, some cup holders, phone is up there, Alcantara inserts on the M branded seats. I see some ambient lighting happening. We got the Harman Kardon sound system. I'm going to be testing that out here on the drive, doing a members only sound test. Ooh, seat moves up once you plug your seatbelt in. And when you undo it, it comes back. Fun. Some cool paddle shifters there. Looks like kind of a carbon fiber look. So without any further ado, let's hit the road. Ooh, good turning radius. Like that. Okay. I'll tell you one thing, I am hungry, so it won't take long for us to be hitting some sort of fast food establishment in this. I know that's a staple of road trip reviews. The steering is light, but we do have the very characteristically thick BMW steering wheel, so I'm grabbing it with my big mutts. It's not a light, dainty finger sort of situation. The it's GT line. Getting some stop-start action with this 2-liter turbo. Both BMW X1s come with the 2-liter turbocharged engine, but this one just makes more power, and I will have to look up and see what those power specs are. I don't have them right off the top of my head right now. Like I said, I literally just got in, picked up this car, but you will have all seen it already because I'll do a little card and I'll look it up at some point here later on in the drive. I'm also liking it. I have a nice good sized head-up display in front of me. It's a nice resolution. It's telling me right now that my next turn is in 0.3 miles onto I-285 north, and that's nice that even with my Android Auto, it's giving me navigation there. Oh, and it's got the good BMW navigation where it's even telling me which lane to be in. It's showing all 3 lanes up there and saying you want to be in the right lane. Also got my speed and a speed limit sign up there. So far, I really have barely even heard the engine. It's very docile, chilling here in what I assume is comfort mode. I'll have to check the drive modes once we get going. Nice frameless rear view mirror. Easy adjustments so far. The seat's a little firm. You can tell we've got some sporting pretensions with the seat. Ooh, backrest width. I can actually reduce that. Okay, it's all the way out. Getting a little bit of road noise coming through here. Seems like we're on a concrete section of highway. Not bad, but I'm definitely noticing it. All right, we got a few hours in the saddle here. I'll be reporting back to you with some thoughts. Coming into the end of our leg 1 2-hour trip here in the X1. I'm trying to keep the negative thoughts at bay because It has been a long day of travel. It's nighttime. It was raining for half this drive. I was hungry for part of it. There's been a lot going on, but admittedly, I have had trouble getting comfortable in this car. It's a combination between the where the steering wheel is and where it's capable of going, the seating position, the seating material and how hard it is, and then the lowness of the center console. I'm not able to rest my elbow on the center console and then also hold the steering wheel. That's a position I usually like to drive in, is have elbow down, right arm holding the wheel. I find myself not being able to do that with this car, and that's frustrating. You can see I am navigating using the center, the gauge cluster screen right in front of me, and it shows me a full Google Maps from my Android Auto. I've got the center screen turned off because it's a little easier on my eyes here at night, a little bit less light blasting me. I've also turned the ambient lighting off, a little easier out here in the country as well. The adaptive cruise control works well, and the active lane keeping works well. However, let's go ahead and set it right now. And I want to show you there are times when, and I noticed this the last BMW I had back in California as well, but I'll just be kind of holding the steering wheel, letting the car do its driving, and then it'll start flashing at me and saying, hey, you need to hold the steering wheel on. And I am holding the steering wheel, and it's unfortunate that you got to give it a little bit more attention. And it's fairly frequent as well, whereas something like the Hyundai Ioniq 6 that I just got done doing 700 miles in, that'll go minutes at a time without you having to address the steering wheel, and then when you need to, it's just a very subtle little press on it. So that's been a little bit annoying. Oh, what else? The Harman Kardon system is good. I'm going to do more listening to it on the way back. It is tuned a little strong, I would say. There's a good amount of bass and a good amount of treble. Most people are going to like that. I think I mostly like it, but there is a little bit of weird compression going on, so we're really going to have to dig into that system on our way back in a few days. Not the quietest in here. Definitely not like a 3 Series. Which, I mean, if you're looking at this car, this one's 58, 59-ish. 3 Series is right around that price too, so definitely something to keep in mind. The wireless charger does still work well. It is one of my favorite layouts for a wireless charger. Got my phone charged up nicely. The Android Auto has been a strong connection. Yeah, I think that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for us here tonight. We'll have more lasting thoughts on our way back to Atlanta on Sunday. After a fun-filled weekend with the boys, heading on back to the airport here with the BMW X1 M35i. And I gotta say, there's a lot about the X1 that allows you to do more than I expected with this vehicle. So many people are buying into these compact and now these subcompact crossovers instead of doing something more like your traditional sedan or hatchback. And a weekend like this kind of shows why. The fact that I was able to load 4 full-size adults in here. We're able to drive around and go do activities. There's still room in the trunk for things. And it's got the good sound system, and it's got sporty driving abilities for when we're out running with an E36 M3, and we were actually able to keep up and actually go a little bit quicker than the E36. I mean, that really shows you the value you're getting out of something like this being a little bit more performance-y. I mean, essentially, with 312 horsepower and front-wheel drive bias, this is the modern interpretation of a luxury hot hatch. Now, that being said, there are elements of the BMW X1 specifically, mostly when it comes to ergonomics, that I simply haven't been able to reconcile over the course of this weekend. I've been through more than the full tank of gas with this, driven it in a lot of different types of situations, and I'm still not super comfortable in the car. I've really been trying to enunciate, especially to the other guys. I'm out here with a group of car guys, and they're all asking me about it. You know, this is the one new car that is in the fleet this weekend, and everyone's got questions. And I love the blue color outside. I totally am with them on that. But they're like, oh, you know, how do you like it? This, that, and the other. Overall, I like a lot about the car. There's a lot that appeals to me, but there are a few weak points. One, I mentioned it earlier, but the ergonomics between where my elbows land, both on the inside here and on the door. A few passengers noted how far forward and out the door elbow rests are. It's a very weird ergonomic choice for the X1 here. Not only that, but the window line is really high. So if you're one of those people who likes to ride with their window kind of hanging out or their arm hanging out the window, it's not really going to happen in this car. Next, the dual clutch automatic. I really don't understand why BMW went to this transmission when they had arguably the best transmission on the market available to them, the ZF 8-speed. They went with this dual clutch automatic, and it's weird. There were times when, this being a sporty car, we're at a stoplight with some of our other cars in the fleet, and I would give it full throttle right off the stoplight, and it takes a long time for the dual clutch to engage properly and get up and get going. Once it does connect, and once it's engaged and pulling, it pulls really, really hard. This thing is fun to drive at speed, but getting off the line, it really struggles. And then when smoother driving, I'm trying to just kind of drive around town. It's morning, we just got it in normal mode, and it's herking and jerking, getting away from stoplights, or kind of slamming itself into gear, depending on how you perfectly apply pressure to the accelerator. So it's really strange to me that BMW would bother going to that. I'm sure they have a reason. I just don't think it's a reason enough compared to such an excellent transmission that they have in their other models. This one's a little bit more subtle, but the car has a very quick steering rack, and while it's very nice for spirited driving, when you're just casual driving, especially on the highways, it's not a comfortable driving experience. It's too manic, it's too twitchy, not a very relaxed driving experience. In fact, relaxed is about the last word I would use for this car. So some people are really going to appreciate some of that manic M character in here, and don't get me wrong, on the twisty roads I really did, but as a road tripper sort of vehicle, not loving that. But I do like the general layout of the interior outside of the driver ergonomics. I like having the wireless charger up there. The cup holder's been a good size. Good places to put things, although I will say, not really a good place to put things out of view here. So if you've got valuables, not really too many places to tuck them out of sight. I do really like the looks of the interior, like all the cross-stitching and the speaker elements. There's some dark wood grain that you can't quite see in the sunlight, but you can see it over there in the door right now, probably. Doors have been good for storing things. So there's a good amount to like, but for me, this car at $58,000, a little bit of a harder sell for someone just using as a daily driver sort of vehicle compared to one of the cheaper X1s. But we've got an hour and a half left or so, maybe closer to 2 hours before we're done with our time, so I'll share some of my final thoughts with you at the end of the day. I would be remiss to not highlight some of the performance attributes of the M35i. So here we are out on some more back roads and driving around in manual mode, sport mode on. I've even got the iconic sound sport mode sounds on, so you can hear some of the fake burbles coming through from the subwoofer back there. The thing actually does torque steer really hard, you can see right there. I mean, it yanks you around, you gotta be ready. You can feel the front wheel drive bias of this car, but I don't really mind that. I think it adds to the character. It's kind of fun feeling it pull you around, but it certainly does have front wheel drive feel. Oh, right there, coming over the crest of that hill. I mean, this thing's yanking all over the place. It's fun. And what I've actually really been impressed from a dynamic standpoint is the suspension on this car. It's got adaptive suspension, and on the rough roads that we've been driving around, it's handled it well, but then some of these corners, it minimizes body roll and still is not jarring. I really would have expected to come in here and complain about the larger wheels, complain about the Sport Tune suspension, but that's not the case. It's handling it really well. I've got directions for me up in the head-up display. I've got them up here on the gauge, and I've got the center screen. But if I need to use the center screen for something, I don't know, like changing my climate control, at least I still have navigation instructions coming up in the center. If you press this button and turn off iconic sounds, then you can hear how much different it is when you're only getting the sound of that little 2-liter turbo. BMW's engines are so well insulated and muted and efficient, that sometimes it is important to have that fake noise just in order to give you a little bit more character. Let's see, which way should we go? Well, they both look fun. Let's see which way this CR-V goes and then base our decision on that. Despite me thinking that the iconic sounds are a little silly sometimes and sound a bit strange, I actually do appreciate the fact that BMW gives us the option to have them on or off, because sometimes I want a little bit of extra noise, I want that character, I want the silliness, and sometimes I just want it to be quiet and let me enjoy the natural mechanical sounds of the powertrain like this. And a few clicks of buttons later, and I'm right back into more of the comfort, chill driving mode. And this thing, like I said, it's the ride and driving dynamics of this car are actually really well done. I'm impressed. Any of my issues just come from general ergonomics. Here we are wrapping up what ended up being a lot more driving this weekend than I expected, but gave me a great opportunity to really think on this X1 M35i. And as I've echoed through this video, I like it as a performance car, but I don't love it as a daily driver and highway commuter. Still not over the ergonomics. And then the pricing. The pricing is a little tough. $59,000 the way you're looking at this one. Not getting any heated seats. It's a tough sell for me, it really is. And for me, if I were looking for something sporty but still luxurious in this class, I'd be looking toward Integra Type S. I would be looking toward even maybe a BMW 3 Series or the 2 Series. But if you are one of those people who really could utilize the well-packaged space of the X1 and want a little bit of that spunk, that get up and go, and kind of the high-strung nature of this motor, really you're paying for the motor, I get it. I get why it might be worth it for you. I'm disappointed BMW went with this transmission. Hopefully, I don't know what their game plans are for the 7-speed dual clutch, but I really don't want to see it more in any of their other products. I'd like to see a little bit of the tweaks to the ergos here. Pricing's not going to change, so that is what it is. Nothing gets cheaper, but what else? I don't really love the climate control being buried into the screen either. There are definitely times when I'm trying to get the system going. In fact, I just got in the car earlier trying to get the system going, and I'm waiting for it to come online, and it's trying to boot up wireless Android Auto, and so I'm waiting for that. It's going back and forth between the screens, and all I want to do is turn my fans up. So it's not a perfect car. It's got merits, but yeah, let's hop out and take one more quick look at it when we have a chance, and then wrap this up. It'll be a little loud when we get out. We are right near an international airport after all, but I do want to show you one last look at this Bay Blue Lagoon Metallic, because that's definitely one of the highlights of this one is the paint color. So there's a lot I like about the BMW X1. This M35i model is going to have a bit more of a niche market, but I do appreciate the way it rides. I appreciate the way it drives sporty, and for maybe some of those road trippy sort of things, you might want something else. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.